Around 2,000 Clover workers say they will no longer be milked by the company. The General Industries Workers Union of South Africa is demanding a 16% wage increase. Clover is only willing to offer, is willing to make an offer of 3%, which has already been rejected. Reporter Aviwe Mtila is covering that story for us, and of great concern would be obviously the threat to the supply of milk in the country. Before we get to that, very quickly, the gap between what the union wants and what's being offered is fairly wide.
Yes, 5% that's been offered by Clover South Africa, and of course the 27 demands of the General Industrial Workers Union of South Africa is generated about that breakdown in those wage negotiations. They initially wanted 16% going into the negotiations. That's dwindled down to 13%, and now they're not budging at nothing less than a double-digit wage increase. But Clover is not budging, holding steadfast at a 5% wage increase that they've offered from the 1st of July, which the union has rejected, seeing that now they're embarking on this indefinite strike, Jeremy. The other issue is around labour brokers, saying that a lot of the workers are working at the company as contract workers for a number of years and not getting permanent positions. And it's an issue that I touched with Charles Pasha from Giwusa. Let's listen in on that.
For example, the issue of labour brokers. Clover is using labour brokers in all the 9 provinces, but it's abusing the use of labour brokers. And we are saying to them, we want to have a control over the labour brokers. If you look at Polokwane, Clayville and City Tip, they are workers of labour brokers. Some of them have worked for 15 years. They are not being put on permanent, and then they are losing benefits. And that's unacceptable. And if you look in all the 9 provinces, all those workers in the labour brokers happen to be blacks. There's no single white person who is in that pool of workers who will work 15 years. We've been saying, show us a single one in any province. They can't show us because there's no such. White workers come here in 3 months' time. They are all on permanent position.
Aviwe, milk is a critical staple in this country, in any country. Do we have any knowledge at this point as to how the strike could impact consumers?
Well, if the strikers have their way, your breakfast won't be the same again, Jeremy, in the mornings. You'll probably be forced to drink a black cup of coffee if they manage to disrupt the distribution, as they're hoping that this indefinite strike will manage to disrupt the distribution. But they're also calling for a broader boycott from South Africans, boycotting Clover brands. Another issue that I touched with Charles Pasha from Giwusa. Let's listen in on that.
To intensify the strike, we are calling on the public to boycott all the Clover products in all the shops in all the 9 provinces until such time that the Clover management talks to workers.
I'm assuming, Aviwe, that you've picked up the phone and you've spoken to Clover.
I have, certainly, and they sent through a statement basically saying that they have contingencies in place to mitigate that risk that will damage their operations. So at this stage, they're promising that the operations will continue as normal. You'd understand that Giwusa has about 2,000 members that are currently embarking on this strike. And in a conversation that I had over the phone with one of the Clover officials, they said they have about 6,000. So they say that at this moment, whatever wage negotiations they go into, they consider the business's financial stance. And at this stage, they can't succumb to the demands of Giwusa.